Okay, let's look at the business first up. And if you look at the trends so far in the fourth quarter, some of that asset quality pain is already showing up because gross NPAs are slightly higher. What is it that you're noticing now as we're in the first month of the lockdowns? Will this pain increase? And then what's the strategy? Will write-offs continue to be higher to elevate some of this?
Yeah, you're right. Actually, there's a pain in microfinance and unsecured business loan. But fortunately for us, the dominant part of our portfolio is gold loan and home loan, where you have a very good quality collateral, and typically your losses are much lower, and so are actually your NPAs or the collection efficiency is also much better. But coming back to the unsecured part of our portfolio, which is part of our business loan and microfinance, obviously one has to be cautious, and we have aggressively taken write-offs and provisions in last quarter. Looking at the scenario in the month of April and going forward very clearly. But, to my mind, I think one should not worry too much about it. These short-term pains will always come in the business. But from a medium to long term, I think that these business segments, both microfinance as well as business loan, they have tremendous promise. And they will always have cyclical trend, and you to price in these kind of risks and losses which will happen at cyclical intervals. So, and also maybe another thing is that this second wave is very steep, and if the wave rise is steep, probably the fall will also be very steep, and hopefully we should get back. The economy should also get back on track very soon. So that's the hope that we have. But regardless of that, we are prepared. So we are just trying to make sure that we are cautious in new lending. But as far as our existing customers are concerned, we want to show compassion, and we don't want to be very harsh to them where they're genuinely affected. So our message to our sales people is very clear that, try and understand the genuine problems and work out a solution which is win-win, and we retain the customer from a long-term point of view, because the current problems are genuine. I mean, we know that the customers are in trouble because their livelihoods are affected because of lockdown and because of COVID-related problems.
That's a fair point, Nirmal. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. I might inform you that the markets have started off with a bang. It's only pre-opening rates, but Tata Steel is up 8%. I mean, it's already risen, as I was telling you, 70% year to date, 400% over the past 1 year. And this is another massive 10% that's being put on in a day. Let's see. I mean, these are just opening bids. But nevertheless, it's a close to a 1,200 rupee stock. Nirmal, I wanted to ask you how NIMs will shape up. The Reserve Bank has given some, considerations in the sense that on lending to MFIs will be considered priority sector. And, there is a targeted LTRO as well. Any of these are going to make money cheaper for you? And what kind of restructuring do you think you will have to do?
So I think cost of funds has to come down in the economy if we have to sustain the growth and we have to overcome this.
Will it come down? Will it come down for NBFCs?
So maybe the good NBFCs with a good track record, it will come down further. But maybe few basis points, given that inflationary pressures are there. But maybe at least in this year, we expect that our cost of funds should go down by at least 20 to 30 basis points on an aggregate basis. And coming back to the second part of the question, the restructuring, as I said, that microfinance and business loan, which is just about 15 or 18% of our portfolio, will get impacted. And the restructuring which RBI has allowed is understandable under the circumstances. And our view is that if your customers are good and the circumstances are unexpectedly bad, then, be their partners, just restructure, help them get out of the situation, and they'll be, long-term loyal customers to you.
You're only worrying about the MFI customers. That's a small part of your book, 4,000 crore out of...
MFI and unsecured business loan.
So your business loan, 1 minute, your business loan is 6,100 crore. Developer and construction is 4,200. So together that is some 11,000 crore or 10,500 crore. How much is unsecured in that?
So out of our only 2,000 crore, which is about 1/3 of our business loan, is unsecured. Because 2/3 of our business loan is secured LAP, which is loan against property. And the builder loan is entirely secured. And the builder loan, significant part of our portfolio, we are moving to an alternate investment fund. We started the process. So we have signed a contribution agreement with RS SSG and they have a credit opportunity fund based out of Singapore. So they specialize in real estate loan assets. So we started the process of transferring those assets to AIF so that they are ring-fenced there. IIFL Finance, NBFC's contribution in this fund will be about one third of it. So 2/3 of this builder portfolio will be released in terms of cash flow as well as capital. And then the company will focus primarily or maybe entirely on retail assets. So that's the plan which is underway. And so that will take care of the real estate assets. And as I said, the unsecured portfolio is, for us manageable, is not so significant.
So it's about 2,000 crores. That's what you mentioned, 1/3 of the business loan book. Nirmal, so all things put together, can you give us some sense of how credit costs will behave over the next few months and few quarters?
Historically before COVID, our credit costs have been around 80 to 100 basis points of the portfolio. But if you look at our provision in last year of COVID, it has been almost 3 times that much. And so if the COVID situation continues, may continue for some time, then probably we'll have to continue to provide aggressively the way we did last year. But if you ask me my opinion, then maybe it's just 1 or 2 quarters and things will get back to normal. And all these excess provisioning that most of the lending institutions need will also ease off in next 2 to 3 quarters.
Are you prepared for another big write-off? You took one this quarter.
So actually, fortunately for us, our profit, pre-tax profits that crossed 1,000 crore mark last year, they give us adequate cushion to take the write-off on the portfolio which can be at risk. And what we have done is that all the write-offs and provisions that we are taking are also in anticipation of the fact that next 2 quarters can be a little difficult. And that's why we have kept our GNPAs at less than 2% and NPAs at less than 1%. But even the write-offs that we take, we don't lose our right to collect. So as far as our collection team is concerned, they won't know what is written off and what is provided for. So we expect that there will be some recovery from the written off amounts as well.
Okay, got that. So let's see, Nirmal, as you're saying, we need to be watchful and see how this evolves. Only then will you know more about your provisioning requirements. Since we have you with us, let me ask you a broader questions on the market. There's been amazing resilience. We're at 14,800 right now, hardly any distance away from the peak. When there is such a severe pandemic raging and we don't know about the nature of mutants and variants and the pace of vaccinations, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because the market and even the earlier crisis, war, pandemic, market behavior can be a little different, and the market anticipates, it looks ahead. So it's looking at things beyond pandemic, 1. 2, what has happened last year, if you remember, market bottomed in somewhere in the end March or April. And from there in 9 months, it almost doubled. And therefore, many individual investors, retail and HNI, who sold in that pandemic in the fear because it was for the first time, nobody knew how it would play out. Those are the people who at every decline or every dip or every time they get an opportunity of a good stock, they are trying to buy. And they know that this pandemic is not forever. But also they know that whenever it gets over, market can bounce back the way it did last year. So that fear of missing out, when market rallies, and also the last year we did not have a playbook that how the pandemic plays out, how the economy reopens. But now people have more confidence that, okay, it's a bad situation right now, and we all hope and pray that we get out of this as unscathed as possible. But that is one part of it. But still, people know that the businesses and economies will revive, and they will revive strongly. So market has a tendency to look ahead, and that is what it is doing at this point in time. It's looking beyond pandemic.
Okay.
And which may be a few months away. It's not, nobody knows. There can be wave 3 and things can, but we hope, and
yeah, of course.
Now that the vaccine is there, most people expect that, okay, the second wave may be the last wave, which is, or maybe the next wave will be very, very mild, given that the vaccination drive will be in full force. So I think people are hoping that this will be behind us very soon.
Okay. If someone asks you a stocks advice, what do you do? Do you tell them metals? Do you tell them, what do you tell them? I'm sure they're asking you all the time.
Okay. I'm not an expert, but and the disclaimer is that people should do their own research and take their own investment advisor's advice. But today, I just heard you talking about metals.
Yeah.
So the steel sector has recovered, and a company like Tata Steel, probably they can repay their debt and still will have cash to invest in expansion. China is committed to reduce the coal and the pollution problems, by 2030 in a very significant way. So it may be a long-term trend. Long-term is maybe a cycle which can last for 5 to 7 years, and that is what. So actually, now the good thing is that you have stocks in many sectors. So even IT sector should do well because the digital investment by global companies will increase significantly. Many pharma companies will do well from their export point of view as well as local. Some of the capital goods companies are seeing revival. Metal companies are doing good. Some of the cement companies are doing well. Chemical companies have done extremely well. And the way the China pollution environment situation is and the PLI scheme that Indian government has brought in next few years can be very good. So I think you have a broad-based rally and you have a huge, sort of area of sectors and stocks that you can choose from. And I think you'll have for a good number of experts coming for next 5 years to talk about that.
Good one, good one. Nice way to duck. Thank you very much, Nirmal Jain,
so
for joining us.